Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being with us. As is our custom, can you share what's on your mind, what you'd like me to share in today's talk? And again, from your soul, like what's really dear to you, not just something flippant to throw some word out there, but something that's really, truly important to you, for you personally or for the people around you. Anyone?
Soul connection. Trust. Surrender.
Faith.
Hold on. Before faith, there was one there. C-H-I. Chi. Okay. I thought she said chief. And I was thinking, yeah, balance, okay. Hold on. And one more that was over there. Dreams. Okay, no more. Thank you. Okay. For the folks online, it ranges from dreams and physical healing, faith, balance, trust, soul connection, several things. I'm not reading them all off, so I did hear most everybody in the room, and that's where we'll go today. One topic that's been really popular the last several years, every so many years there's like a theme, a topic that becomes really, really exciting and popular. But higher dimensionality, fifth dimension, or ascension. People have been talking a lot about ascension kind of since the 90s. It started becoming more of a popular concept. For some reason, in the last 10 years, it's resurging. It's coming back as a very popular topic. Why is that? Because it's happening. Ascension is taking place. Higher dimensionality is taking place. And words like trust and surrender and balance and faith, and what the good news is, with higher consciousness, all of those key words you're bringing up are going to be included. In other words, if you're bringing up surrender, going into the higher dimension, we will achieve surrender. What about trust? Going into higher dimensionality, we'll achieve trust. Does that make sense? We'll achieve faith. Well, the things you're asking about, healing, acceptance, all these extra kindness, all of these are attributes. They're really branches of or symptoms of a greater thing, which is consciousness rising. So what I'm encouraging first is, don't think of these as separate things. Think of these not only as all connected, kindness, trust, faith that you're asking about, balance, they're all connected. Don't think of it as that one was my question, that one was their question. It's cool. Yes, it was, but they're all connected. Now, we can get this the easy way or the hard way. The easy way, I'll come back to. The hard way would be start doing them all, and then you'll achieve all these things. Do them. Work on kindness and faith and trust, and go work on those things, and then they'll start entering your life more. You can also work on one thing, higher consciousness, and then you'll have all the others. Does that make sense? That's what Jesus meant by seek first the kingdom. Kingdom means what? Brick and mortar castle that God lives in? No. Seek first the consciousness, not the kingdom of God, the consciousness of God. Seek first the kingdom, and all the rest will be added. Faith, balance, surrender, trust, soul connection. That doesn't mean you can't have a focus of one. One of you might be, yeah, but I'm really working on physical healing. Another one, I really want to work more on dreams. That's cool. It's specializing, let's call it, or doing something special in a certain phase of your life temporarily, and then you'll move on to something else. But seek first the kingdom. So let's get that down. The idea of reaching higher consciousness, or even ascension, reaching higher dimensions, is very appealing if you think about it. Now, some people still live in the I don't deserve, or I don't know how to do it. That's okay. We are in a symbiotic relationship with each other. And believe it or not, as we as a race are opening ourselves up to higher consciousness, you're going along with us, even if you don't believe in it. We're bringing everybody because we're one. The bad news is free will also allows anyone that doesn't want to quite go to put the brakes on. And then there's a lot of screeching when you're dragging a vehicle along with the brakes locked up. Screeching would be news, the news shows, that's screeching. Politicians hating each other, it's all screeching. But at the end of the day, it's interesting. Angels and beings of higher dimensions, they don't look at this and go, boy, Democrats are really ruining things. Boy, Republicans are really ruining things. Boy, meat eaters, they're screwing everything up. They don't do that. It's funny because these higher dimensional beings, all they do is smile. And they're not just smiling because of how ridiculous we are, because that's laughable too. They're also smiling because what they're saying is, not only is this all going to work out, you guys are just dragging this on. Don't you see it? But we're smiling because it's all going to be okay, first. Secondly, and it already is okay. You actually think you have problems that you don't even have. You're making up stuff. You're making up hatred. You can't hate them because they're you. Well, you can hate yourself, yes, but not the God in you. So if the God in you can't hate yourself or others, can only love because God is only love, then it means it can't be really happening. It's like we're stalling and making up a world to pretend we live in so that we don't get to the real one, which is odd. So getting to the higher dimensions, if I were to say, which I say every so often here, first of all, the prescription is do your best to have daily communion with God. Do your best to surrender your day to God, commune with God, talk to God, pray, meditate. That's rule number one, God first. If there's a second tool, and there is a second tool, but if there's one that has to be emphasized, it's live in a state of forgiveness. Beautiful. First of all, because when you're forgiving, you're acting as God. So it's almost like praying and communing with God almost is like going to a class where you're learning about God. You're praying to God, you're meditating, you're experiencing that. But forgiveness is where you do the lab work, the test work. That's where you prove everything you just meditated. You prayed to God that you want greater peace in a relationship. Okay, we're sending you on assignment. Do you remember that person who betrayed you 25 years ago? They're back. And it might not be them. They'll just look like them, or they'll have the same name, or the same cologne, or the same, something is they're going to trigger you. Human beings keep blaming new people that enter their life instead of realizing they're all the same one. Generally speaking, people that have betrayed you, it's all betrayals from every lifetime. The more you name them as separate people, the more healing you're going to have to go back and do. Now, some of us don't like that, because if I liked the first one that betrayed me, I wouldn't mind it, but I didn't. Why would I want to believe they're back? I want to pretend they're all different annoyances. I know, I get what you're thinking, but I'm saying it's not helpful. Here's what happens. Again, if you have 10 people, and it's more than 10. If you have just 10 people that have betrayed you, 10 people that have lied to you, 10 people, whatever it is, any topic of hurt, physical hurt, emotional hurt, etc. Abuses, neglects even, 10 people who have neglected you. If there's just 10 in all your lifetimes, pretend that it's only 10. In all your lifetimes, you get a report on the other side. You have 10 betrayals that you need to work on. You can do it one of two ways. 10 different people reincarnating, coming back into your life, pushing your buttons again. Or the efficient route is realize they're all the same. Anytime you work on betrayal, if you name 10 people, you are saying, the universe has to say, and so it is. And now you have 10 people. And trust me, you work on them and you're like, oh my God, I'm forgiving, I'm ho'oponopono, I'm boom shakalucking, I'm using mantras and yantras, and I'm really knocking them out. And then all you need is one to trigger, and you sort of set yourself up again. Now you have to come back because there was one you missed. When you do it efficiently and realize they're all the same, when you work on one, you work on 10. Now, it's not only efficient, it's something magical happens, something incredible, because all lifetimes, even if you don't remember some of these people from other lives, working on one and recognizing we're all one, then anytime you're working on forgiveness, you're working on all non-forgivenesses in the past. Anytime you're working on betrayal, all betrayals from the past. Now, some people are like, the word all is too much. I need to break them down and give them time. I want this one this lifetime, this one this lifetime. That's not very efficient. But if you see yourself as fragile, if you see yourself as vulnerable, if you see yourself as capable of being overwhelmed with too much forgiveness, that you're going to need to do it this way, and God bless you, and so it is. I mean, if somebody comes to you and says, I decided to start working on 10 different people that I need to forgive, I think you should say, support them. You could hint about what I'm saying, but if you notice that they don't want to hear it, back off and let them do it their way. 10 different people, oh, that's great, And I decided I'm going to come back for 7 of them in 7 other lifetimes. Good for you. Don't let them see you do that part, but in your mind, you're allowed to go, you poor thing. Why would you want to fate yourself to such a thing? But if that's where they're at, honor where they're at. It's fine, to each his own. So communion with God, yes, forgiveness. But there's one more tricky thing, and it's called staying in the present, staying in the moment. Now, a lot of people misunderstand what that means. Some people walk around all Zen-like. Man, I just stay in the moment. I'm just in the moment. And they're talking it, but not really getting it. There is no past, it's gone. There's no future because it's not here yet. So being in the moment is where the miracles take place. When you say, I want to forgive, forgiveness is really a trippy thing. It's what I call a miracle bubble. When you forgive, you're warping time. So if I set an intention to only forgive one person at a time, you're keeping time linear, which means you're not actually in the moment, which means you're limiting the miracles that can come to you and the other person. But it's okay if that's what you want to do. On the other hand, when you're communing with God and you say, I trust you, guide me today. And now 3 hours later, somebody's image pops up in your mind, or they call, or you see their name, or whatever it happens, and a trigger. You might not even feel the trigger, but the fact that someone has popped into your mind, a fear of the future, oh my God, I just realized I'm going to need to retire someday and I don't have anything in the bank. When that shows up, it's for a reason. You asked God to bring to you what you needed today to make the greatest achievements in consciousness. It popped up. It's not an accident. Well, I was just wanting a blissful day when I prayed, and God's going, and it's right here. If you would just look at this thing and release it, you're going to have bliss 10 times what anything else could have brought you, if you just do the work. I brought this to you for a reason, and this is the Holy Spirit that does this. This is the Divine Mother. Sweetheart, you remember you were praying a little earlier and you wanted to, well, I'm boo. I'm going to see how you react to this. Boo. And you freak out, you react. It takes that thing, that hurt, that unhealed wound, and it anchors it in you all over again. Unless you go, oh, I get it. Good try. I remember praying for A, B, and C. This person popped up, must be related. Just have faith in that. And surrender them to God. And then all heaven says, peace on earth and goodwill to man. The Christ was just born in you to some degree today because you chose to bring peace, meaning forgiveness to a situation, to the world instead of angst. Is that making sense? Yeah. So being in the present, it's not just a talk real Zen-like. Being in the present comes from, and it's really amazing, but being in the present is like entering a miracle bubble where you don't pretend that there's no past or future. You start to understand that there's no past or future. First of all, if there was a past, it's not here, which means if you're upset by the past, you're not in the present, you're actually in the past. Because in this moment, they're not actually here right now. 90-something% of the time, when you feel triggered, it's not actually about anything that's happening now. It might be symptoms. Somebody might have the same color hair as them, the same name, but they're not actually here. But the ego in us will use anything to trigger us. Why? Because it doesn't want you in the present. Why? Because that's a gift from God. No gifts, no presents, and no presents. So in this moment, I have some choices. How do I heal something of the past without going to the past? There's a difference. There's something called time convergence versus time like regression, age regression. Age regression means something is happening around you to some degree and it's regressing, it's triggering you, and you've gone back into the past. So there's easy ways of seeing that, but sometimes it's not easy. Easy ways would be like noticing your voice changed when you were talking. Maybe that voice change is someone else from here. Maybe when you started talking higher before your voice changed into adolescence and all that, maybe that little voice that started coming through or the shaking is a 5-year-old. That's certain signs that you're regressing. Something happened and it brought you back. Now, God does not take you back because there's no past. God does not project you into the future because there's no future. The ego does this. But I'm not saying this is all off. There's a way to do it right. So what happens is time convergence is another option. So let's pretend something triggers you. Then God would do this by bringing the past to the present to be released. You're still here. You hold your center. When you get dragged, you start like stomping your feet like a child. You start waving your hands like a tantrum. You start protecting yourself like you did when you were hiding in the corner of your room. You follow? There's physiological, anatomical, behavioral, body language ways of showing that you're not here right now. If you see that in somebody, take their hand, reassure, are you okay? Calm. Even being in the room with somebody doing this without even them knowing it, you slowing the breath, their soul will hear that you're calming the moment and it will comply, believe it or not. Most of the time, your breath can shift a room. So do your best to help them. But what if you're the one and nobody's there helping you? You got to learn to see these things when you've been dragged to the past. You're triggered is a word we use, right? You're triggered. You're feeling anxious. You're feeling your pulse rate's going. Why? We're just sitting right here. Oh, that's tracking. So let me look at this. What am I feeling right now? And whatever it is, it's a theme. It's 10 different lifetimes where you had something happen and it's back. The ego doesn't want you to heal. But if you're going to try to heal, the ego is going to say, I really honor your decision to heal, which it doesn't. But it's going to say, and I'm all with you. So let me just start getting the files of people, boom, onto the desk, and immediately your heart's starting to race. Oh, yeah, no, you didn't realize. Oh, you got lots of betrayals. Would you like me to start reading them off to you? And as it's reading, you're starting to check out, and it knows it's going to do that to you. It's got to make it overwhelming. It's got to make it like you have lots of issues, lots of lifetimes, lots of debts, lots of karma, so that you don't pursue it. God, on the other hand, is saying, stay right here with me, honey. Right here. Breathe. Here's how we're going to do that. We're not going to take you and throw you into the giant dumpster of stuff, memories. What we're going to do, I know, God is saying, I know any one of those that's actually going to take 10 at a time. I know the one person that's actually holding a memory of 100 other people. I'm going to bring them. I'm going to set it in front of you, and you and I together are going to work on that one issue. Yeah, but I heard there's a dumpster. No. There appears to be a dumpster of memory, but I know how to group them together and summarize it and talk to you about it as though it's one issue. How do you feel when you feel betrayed? Well, I feel okay, got it. Let's process those emotions, those feelings about feeling betrayed means you're unloved, you're unlovable. Are you unloved and unlovable? Well, I feel that way, but is it true? In God? No. All right, so let's cry for a moment. Let's goodbye to everybody that ever made us feel unlovable. Let's process this out. Now, always refill with something new. What do you want to refill with? Love and self-worth. Great. So let's breathe together, she'll say, the Holy Spirit. Let's breathe together and bring in love and self-worth. I'm doing it. Are you feeling any better? Yes. It's almost like doing tapping times a million tapping technique to refill. So all of a sudden you're rewired and you're going, a minute ago, I was reliving every bad birthday I've ever had. And all of a sudden one process and the power they seem to have had is gone. I feel awake. I feel alive. I feel peace. And you've healed, you don't realize, countless number of lifetimes, not just issues. A Course in Miracles, which is a teaching of Christ consciousness, an expression of Christ consciousness, says a lot of very powerful things, but one of them is, and I'm paraphrasing, but one forgiveness can save you from thousands of lifetimes. And that's huge, man. Like, well, wait a minute. How can anything, how do you bottle that? Can I drink it? Can I smoke it? Save me 1,000 lifetimes? One forgiveness. Why? Because it's magical? No. Because forgiveness takes you from being in the past or the future. Forgiveness takes you from being triggered by things that aren't happening right now. Forgiveness is a time warp. So it brings 1,000 lifetimes into this moment, present moment, to be released. So it is supernatural. You see what I mean by that? Forgiveness is supernatural. It's not just a nice thing to do. Well, I've heard, that forgiveness is, just kind of nice. No, this is the most supernatural force in our universe. Nothing can warp time like forgiveness. Well, I heard that there's a mind-boggling technique that you do this, and if you breathe a certain way and look to your third eye and stand on one foot except on Fridays, then, spin your body counterclockwise except on Sundays, spin clockwise, all kinds of techniques, all money, blah, 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 and you're doing, and those are cool, and light a green candle for this and gold candle for that. All of it's fine. They're exercises, they're ceremonies, they're rituals, they're fine. But what masters learn to realize versus students still use all the techniques. Masters realize the techniques are just trying to get you to show up. That's all they are. Staring at a gold candle. Listen, it's wax. The wax isn't going, as we melt for you, beloved. The wax isn't going, we are guaranteeing money will appear in your bank account. It's wax. It's just wax. It can't do, no, but it's gold wax. Gold colored wax. Well, then get some gold colored food coloring and drink some water with gold colored food and you're instantly prosperous. No, listen, if you don't change consciousness, none of the techniques help. It was always about gently loving. I don't care if it was tree magic or, rituals of this, water, whatever you use. All of the things out there, there is no out there. It's a hologram. They were always about asking you to show up. And that's beautiful because that's the mother going, well, until the day you realize this, I'm going to be your external signs of magic. So, you wave a stick in the air and you do this and spin and, honey, I love you, so I'm going to play along, Aren't you feeling greater after doing your pranayama? Yes, I am. Great. Isn't that wonderful? But she's waiting for the day where you say, wait a minute. All along, all the breathing techniques, it wasn't slowing my breathing, it calms the nervous system. It seems to. But what's happening is you are choosing to calm yourself down. That's the greatest magic. And it's the greatest tragedy that we don't own that we're magical. It isn't just the outside magic. It's really, even that is a mirror of ourselves. So you think you want somebody to apologize for you to forgive them. That's outside magic. If they apologize, see, that's manipulation and still linear. If they apologize on Monday, I'll forgive them on Tuesday. I might see the benefits of that on Wednesday. It's still linear. To forgive and realize it's all mirroring parts of myself, my loves and hates, my attachments, detachments, my unhealed wounds and my aspirations. These people are just mirroring those things. So if I project them onto you, like you're my source of love and you're my source of regret, I can never heal them. I can never change them. Even if you're seemingly a source of love, I can never actually integrate love because I've just established you're my source of it. I mean, now I got to get you to marry me. And you got, of course, you move in. And then if you're my source of love, walk around the house, tell me how great I am all the time. You are the most superb being I've ever met. You better say that. And it's almost midnight, so get keyed up and ready to repeat it again, so that I hear it every day. I don't need you, is what you come to. I don't need anybody, anything, not in a cold way. What I mean, need. What if you have a child who can't speak and express that they love you? Are you seriously going to sit there and say, well, now I don't feel loved? I got to wait till they reincarnate with me in another lifetime where they can finally speak and tell me my deserved love quotient. No, don't you know? Can't you know? Of course. I'm not saying you should live lovelessly, wishing you were told you're wonderful once in a while, but then you're denying yourself love. I'm saying there doesn't need to be a neediness to it. So we learn to be in the present moment. In my day-to-day 3D world, what that means is eye contact. Be in the present. Listen to people when they're sharing. Look at them. Acknowledge what they're saying. I hear what you're saying. Like, that's being present. Sharing how you're feeling in this present moment is a form of being in the present. But anytime you're regressed, you're not here now. And if you're not here now, you're not in the present. If you're not in the present, you're not in God. However, future anticipations, worrying about, does that mean you're bad for trying to plan for retirement? No, it's the consciousness with which you do it. The ego wants you afraid or broken. Your past keeps you broken and the future is all fear-based. Perfect. That's what the ego wants. But it's okay. Here's how you do it. How do I stay in the present and let the past come to me and the future come to me to be blessed? Now listen, this is about anointing. Anytime you anoint something, it is brought to the present. You will anoint, at some point, we will all learn to anoint every event of the past. I don't mean like you're putting lipstick on something that's horrible. I'm saying that they don't have the same old effects. It's like you see an image of the past and peace be with you. When am I saying that? Did I go back to do that? No, I can't peace be with you if I'm dragged to the past. Time convergence means all these things, past and future, they're brought to the now. And in the now, I'm sitting with God, in God, centered in God, and I say, bless you. I'm really sorry we had that. Come here for a moment. Listen, about that. So sorry. Love you. Peace be with you. You see what you're doing? And future anticipations and fears and whatever, even if it's aspirations. I can't wait. It's exciting. Someday. That keeps you out of the present moment. Bring it here. Bless you. Blessing your retirement, blessing. You stay in the present. It's not impractical because you still understand there seems to be in this world a future and a past, but you stay in the moment and anoint these things. Now, one last thing on that. There is a false presence. When you come across like, hey man, I'm just always in the present. I'm in the moment. Hi, listen, can I hire you to change my tires? They're blowing out and it's an emergency. I need the tires changed. Well, we'll just see if my guides are kind of telling me in the moment if I'm going to do that. You can leave your car and we'll just let the present moment decide. I'm not leaving you with my car. There's not a chance. I would like you to, in the moment, change the tires. Now, that's being in the moment too. So there's false games people play about being, fake in the moment. There are people that will tell you when you say to them, I'm so upset the things you've been doing to me for 10 years. You've been doing this for 10, man, let it go. It's easy for somebody that hurt you to go, man, that's in the past. You be in the moment like I am. And what's really annoying is when they talk softly as you're screaming. Why can't you be more like in a state of love like me? They're not in a state of love. They're just so expert at passive aggressive behavior. They know how to whisper when they're still deeply enraged. That was cool. Anyway, there's fake in the moment. And here's one way to know the difference. If you haven't invited God into the situation, you're not really in the moment. You can't truly be in the present moment without God. So when people say, man, I and just in the moment, through my own efforts, I know how to make myself be in the, I read a book on how to be here now. So now I repeat that, be here now and I'm here. No, you're not. You're seemingly, and that's better than nothing. But if you haven't invited God in, there's no present, there's no gift. It's got to be spiritualized. And that includes your healings of incidents of the past. If you don't bring God in, then all you're doing is trying to be better about hurts of the past. You're trying to work on them, and that's good. You're trying to forgive them, you're trying to bless them. If God isn't there, it isn't happening at the highest level. So when we get into this, I'm going to bring peace wherever I am, and that comes through forgiveness. The present moment feels like peace. It doesn't have the anxiety of the future, nor the stress of the past. It feels calming. And any of us can say, I'm going to breathe and calm down. There are neurological exercises. Even a medical doctor can say, let's calm your breathing and we'll change your pulse rate. Great. All you did was manipulate your pulse rate. It doesn't mean you experienced a miracle. Even if you go, I feel miraculously calmer. If you didn't bring God in, it's not miraculous. All you did was manipulate your heart rate, which is better than having it going too fast. But you can't experience true peace without the presence of God. So I would love to see more counselors that give you breathing techniques, more sponsors, more doctors. It would be wonderful if they didn't just say, slow down your breathing. Instead, I am on an inhale, at peace on the exhale, because peace is synonymous with God. Or sometimes what I might use are the words, the peace of God is with me, or the presence of God is with me now. The exhale for me is, and so it is. You see? Just sneak a little God in there. It's not going to hurt you. But people are so tripped out about the idea. Well, I'm not allowed to really bring the God thing in there. Fine, even if they don't, you're allowed to do it. If a doctor says breathe, relax breathing for 10 breaths, you could be totally cosmic about it and they don't have to know about it. So when others around you don't help you get into the present, you can do it, right? So what's interesting to me is if I'm here right now, not in the past. Now, how much the past triggers you tells you how much you associate with the past. Do you understand? How much you identify. If you're not there, they're just like neutral events. So when you're in the present, Course in Miracles describes an exercise. You watch things, your fears of the future, your events from the past, you watch them like a procession and they just go by and you remain centered and neutral to them. You see them, but you don't react. And if you react, it's good to note, oops, that one got me. Let me come back to that in a moment. Let your procession finish, and then let's go back to that one. What was happening there? Just with gentle voice. Honey, what was happening? As I remembered that one, I started quivering. Why? What was going on? Talk to yourself gently. I started feeling ashamed. Why? Because I was part of that thing that happened, and I did it too, and I didn't want to think that. Oh, okay. Why do you think you participate? Because I was angry. Why were you angry? Because and you spew it and you're honest about it. Are you feeling that way now? Do you want to keep feeling that way? No, I don't. Would you like to surrender that deep feeling? Yes, I would. Choice, free will, surrender it. Now what would you like, honey? Peace instead of this. And you call in the presence of peace. And now you shifted even that one thing that snuck in and got you. Always coming from this, to me, it's a very beautiful place. But if I'm in the present and I'm not identifying with the past or future, it's very interesting, because if I'm not identifying, I can't relate to it. It's not me. And if it's not me, these things will start to fade away. You see what I mean by that? They start to fade because they're not being fed by you anymore. So my choice to commune with God, my choice to be a more forgiving person, these things out here, they start to dissipate. And something's going to fly in under the radar. Something's going to sneak in at some point. The ego doesn't go, oh, dang, this person's reading A Course in Miracles. I might as well pack it up. No. Instead, what it does is, I'm going to start looking through your files. It's what it does. It's kind of weird, but it's what it does. You're no longer the same person as you were then. That alone should help you realize, I can't identify with that anymore. I'm not there. I'm different. But if you're not the person that you're fearing in the future, I need to retire. What am I going to do? Well, listen carefully. If you're not there yet, you're not even that person. Do you see what I mean by that? So it's kind of, how much can you obsess on protecting your future if you're not that person yet? I don't even know what I will be like at that time. So my saying that things are going to go badly, if you're assuming that that's who you are, the one afraid of what might happen. But over here, it's very foreign, because that's not you yet. And that's not you any longer. That alone should make us go, wow, how could I even talk about this anymore? When think about the metaphysics of that. I'm neither of those, and yet I sit here and act as though I am. That's not communion with God. That's not living in the presence of God. You know, we would love to, fear what might happen in the future, but what's the difference? Because you're not there yet. So you don't know what you'll be like and how you'll handle it then. You might be levitating buildings by that time, so it won't matter that you're $10 in the hole. So getting all worried about it, you're going, the me that I'm not, I'm going to bring over to here and get all anxious about it. It really is kind of strange if you think about it. But it doesn't mean you're not aware of the past and future. While you're in a world of past and future seeming existence, the Holy Spirit of God is going to say, the Divine Mother, since part of you believes in the past and future, we will use them to our advantage. So instead of splitting you apart to the past and future, division is always ego, like in politics and everywhere else. Division is ego. What it says instead is, we're still going to talk about the past. We're still going to talk about the future. Well, I thought those were bad and wrong. And no, honey, we're going to do it differently. The main difference, instead of using these things to divide you, we're going to use them to unite you. We're going to use past memories to heal, come forward and make you a better person by healing the past in the present. We're going to teach you how, instead of fearing the future, how to know everything's going to be okay. We're going to use those tools of the ego against the ego, so to speak. We're going to use them differently by bringing them here and using them the way the Holy Spirit, which would be, let's heal 20 things, 500 things, all in one, through one person issue, one trigger. See, that's the efficiency. The ego can't tell you that. Because even if the ego is hearing that you're doing this with God, it's going to say, can you see God? No. But can you see annoying people? Yeah, they're everywhere. It's rampant. Oh my God, So trust in what you can see with your senses, experience with your senses. The ego's telling us that. Trust in this 3D world. That's the whole problem. The ego talked us into disconnecting from divine, manifesting a world that reflects not being connected, and then telling us that's the real world. It can't let you know how to find peace by coming back into yourself and retiring the world from what we've made it to be. Everyone and everything is trying to keep me divided. Looking in a room at different people is actually still division. It doesn't mean you're bad, because God's going to say, well, why don't we use all those people, even if they're all annoying? Let's use them. Let's take a moment to breathe and say, they're all me, my brothers and sisters. I judged you as having this color skin, that color skin, in between, male, female, this color hair, long hair, short hair, skinny, fat, all these things. None of them are true. Hey, everyone, listen. I just want you to know, and I'm joking partly, but as I'm standing here, just want you to know, some of you actually look like males and some females. Some of you are sort of floating in between. Some of you are black, white, some of you are floating in between. It's amazing. You're all temptations for me to think that you're someone other than me. And I'm really sorry about that. Sorry for putting you in that position. Sorry that one of you has arthritis, another one has, bronchitis, another one leukemia. You're playing out illnesses as though they're not me. I'm retiring you all from the roles I've projected onto you. You're neither male nor female. You're neither black or nor white. You don't have sickness nor healthiness. None of these things are true. You are holy children of God. I'm really sorry I missed that for a moment. Please forgive me. In reality, I love you because you're me and we're God. And thank you. And you've done a miraculous shift in an entire room. When you're in a movie theater and you have nothing else to do because it's a boring movie or whatever, do the technique. Sit and just, okay, do that. When you're seeing something on the news, all these crazy people doing it, wow, how funny. I hired you to be crazy so that I didn't have to be. But you're me. You're me in my worst mood. So sorry, I love you, bless you, blah, 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 and bring them to peace. Bless everything you see. Because if you're seeing it, it's evidence that you've projected out of yourself. When you stop projecting out, you start feeling in. And when you feel in, you don't see people out here the same. There might still appear to be people, but you don't see them the same. Now, they're just images. They're the light of God zipping on a body and wearing it for a little while, and you don't get caught up in that. Yes, you might still say, I know it's an illusion, male, female, whatever, but I would like to still walk this with you and have a partner. You might still say to your children, hey, kids, I just realized everything's an illusion, so I won't be coming home today. You don't do the changes out here because that means there's still an out, which means you're out of yourself, out of your mind. You stay here and you do this quietly. You sit and still watch the TV with your kids and do it while they're watching TV. And they might go, there's a disturbance in the force, because you're cutting cords of illusion. You're freeing them, you're letting them be, but you don't have to verbalize that. Because it can be confusing to some. But to be able to, in your mind, say, oh my God, you're my eldest, meant something to me. You're the baby of the family. All these have meanings I projected onto you. No, I love you all. And I ask God to show me how to love you as God loves you. I want to love the worst person on the planet the way God loves. You see? No exceptions. It doesn't mean that it's wrong to feel hurt by somebody. That's just where you are today. It's all you have to do is put a lightness to it. That's where you are today. Yeah, but there's somebody I don't want to forgive. I'm so angry. I swear to you, the Divine Mother's going, I know, honey, I'm sorry. Let's wait on that for a little while. Why don't we work on something else? You see, she's gentle with you, so you should be gentle with yourself. Don't shame yourself when you're not ready to let go of something. It doesn't help to shame yourself, but see it and own it. At least step up and be responsible and say, I'm going to shelf that one. That one's really getting me, and I've got to wait on that. Be committed to doing the will of God no matter what, no matter how it seems to be rolling. The ego will use all your memories and your anticipations of the future against you in ways that keeps you anxious. It could be as simple as this. Somebody in psychology, they might say, no, the ego, because they're using ego in a slightly different angle than we're talking spiritually. But some people say the ego has value. Really? What value does it have? Now, mind you, I know that if you're using it from the Freudian thing, you're going to sort of be giving it some value. But the excuse might say, well, it tells you not to put your hand on a hot stove. They say that that's the ego that keeps that. The ego might say, I need to, because see, God doesn't have memory, believe it or not. God doesn't have memory because there is no past or future. God has no memory of them. God has no memory of what you've done. They say when you die, God's going to be sitting there going, tapping its foot and doing this with its fingers on the desk to watch the video of your lifetimes, just so that it can condemn you. When you get there, just go, if that's the way it is, why watch the video? We both know I've made mistakes. To hell I go, right? That's not the way it's going to happen. It's not. What happens is heaven and hell is determined by your ability to sit in the present, watch the video. It's called your life flashing before your eyes, and not judging anything you've ever thought, said, or done. Anything you do, react to, someone's sitting over there watching, and they've got electrodes to, and they're watching the meters, and they're going, ooh, okay. What are you writing? Oh, nothing. Okay. They're keeping track, and those are the things you'll go back and work on. That's all. But there are these, they fly under the radar. I didn't know that I still got triggered. I didn't know that still had meaning that, to me, to my gut or whatever. And they fly in under the radar. They trigger us. Try to be gentle when you see these things. God doesn't have memory. You have cellular memory, let's call that root chakra. Emotional memory, emotional chakra. Even intellectual memory. I have to remember where I keep my keys. The intellectual memory. I have a great IQ. It's prideful memory. Do you hear? Memory is almost always related to the three lower chakras, which are the main home of the ego. I'm not condemning the three, because God can be invited in to our three centers and change it all. But the soul, separately from those ego trinity, the soul also has a memory, and it's the collective memory, the collective unconscious. This is the Akashic records. And in the Akashic records, there's still memory of everything you've ever done, but it's not a hateful, reactive, cellular memory you can't control. Emotional memory, you see, there's not pride. It's very neutral, but it's still memory. Why? Because it isn't here. In the Trinity of God, in the consciousness of God, there is no memory, which means God does not know of anything you've ever thought, said, or done that seems wrong. It's incapable. That sounds weird and sacrilegious to some people. Some people's whole life would end if they thought that God isn't counting your sins. Now, it's got to be there. That's because you're so hard on yourself. You can't imagine that God isn't keeping track of your sins because you think it's irresponsible for you to not be having to pay for your sins. That's your opinion. Yeah, trippy, huh? But it's okay. Well, what if God misses something? It won't. So somebody will say, you need memory. You need to have that because you need to remember where your keys are, which implies God will not help you remember where you put your keys, where you hit a key for the house outside. You see? It's going to be okay. The ego has selective memory, and the selection's always bad. God has a different kind of selective memory, which is always good. You see, it's I remember who you really are. The ego's saying, I know all the things you've done from the part of you that you are not. And I'm going to harp on those and keep you triggered by them. God is saying, I know, not I know selectively good things. God isn't good deeds, bad deeds. God is saying, I know only your real self. Then you know what I've done? No, because the doing world doesn't actually exist. It's a hologram. Your doing world was a reflection of your feeling world, how you feel about yourself. And this world isn't properly reflecting who you really are. So God's saying, yeah, you really have to work on all that stuff down there. God is also saying, practice clearing it in your heart through love and forgiveness. Up here, you're not going to have anything to do with the past. No anticipations, no fears. This is called peace that surpasses understanding. This is bliss. It's not boredom when I say you have nothing to do. I mean, there's no past and future. There's only the present, but the present means a state of absolute bliss. So, in closing, I understand that it seems like we have to be in control of memory or else bad things might happen. That is faithlessness. Practice knowing somehow, if I surrender my day to God, all the right turns and wrong turns will be cleared up and sorted out properly. And so in closing, there's an example of Helen who channeled A Course in Miracles. She was shopping once, and in this one time she was going to go in this store. Now she was hearing, not feeling, sensing. She was hearing the voice of Jesus. Good morning, Helen. Hi, Jesus. How you doing? Like that. And he says to her, don't go in that store. And she was really crotchety. She was really intense, this lady. And she's like, no man is going to tell me what store I can go in and not go in. So then you wait outside. And she goes in the store. Her purse gets stolen. She comes out. Now, I have to have my funny visuals of Jesus going, I'm not going to say I told you so. I have all kinds of funny visuals. And Jesus didn't. But she still tried to pull him in. You, if you're really Jesus, should have been watching over me and prevented me from going in. Now there he has to go, I did try. But he says this, now, you did something, and now it's already in the past. It's done. Punish yourself over it. That's not going to help. Here's what he says. Forgive yourself and commit more to listening. Well, good. Well, what good's that going to do? You'll get your purse back. She's like, you don't get your purse back in New York. It doesn't happen. And he's like, you will get your purse back. No. So now she's with her friends and she's, can you believe Jesus tried to, and she's raging all over Jesus to her friends. Phone rings. Hi, police. We found a pocketbook of yours or purse of yours and da-da-da. And she's like, wow. But it's still not good enough for her. She goes, is the money in it? No, it isn't. I knew it. I knew it. Jesus was lying. It's not really Jesus. I'm insane and I need to get locked up. That's how she was. She thought this whole Jesus thing, she was always waiting for the other shoe to drop to prove that this isn't Jesus for much of her life. And you didn't get the money. Jesus said, you will get the money and everything back. And it wasn't true. Somebody in the room says, did you have insurance? Yes. And they gave her all her money. The insurance paid her back the money. It doesn't always go the way you want, the timing you want. Practice walking in the light of God as best you can. She still got her purse stolen. That proves, no. It was a test. She even failed for a moment. But she has to, it's undeniable that even the laws and rules of, insurance took care of her. So things might not go the way you think, but that's a technique of yours to lose faith in God. If somebody says, I used to go to a temple, a Jewish temple, a Hindu temple. I used to go to a temple, but I don't like it because they serve the wrong food. Somebody could say a spiritual center. I find fault. I don't like that person. I don't like the way decisions they make or whatever. The way I look at life and the way you should be looking at life is, what does it mean on a deeper level? When somebody says to me, I hate my old temple, oh my God, do you hear what that just meant? the temple in here. They're telling me, no, I meant that temple. That temple is you. This place, we call it a center. That's a funny play of words. Don't like us, you don't like your center. Now, that doesn't mean you can't disagree with something, but why are you fanning that spark into a flame? Why do you have to find fault with every yoga center going, well, I've heard there's a yogi out there somewhere that did something wrong, so I don't want to ever do yoga. Like weird, like you are already living in hell that you're trying to put them in. So people can mess with the words and judge things and inflate, but why? I don't like men means not just men. It means the male aspect of God. I really don't like women. Women are so, that means you're condemning the mother. And she's the one that feeds you every day, and I don't just mean food. You can't dislike anything and it not have a bigger meaning. Oh my God, I really don't like this group or that group. They're all you, and you're betraying your own inner feelings when you say these words. I don't like this kind of person, that kind. You see? So they're all me forgiveness. Now my past memories, you don't realize the reason you don't like a certain group, whatever they are. Maybe in another lifetime, when you lived in a certain tribe somewhere, and some other tribe came in and took you captive, and took you to their land. You never got past that. So today you walk around with hatred towards that type of person. But they're not doing it today. No, but I'm not letting them off the hook. If you start doing that, listen, we've got a lot of hooks we don't want to let you off of either. So by your own hand, man, judge. And you're automatically judged, not by God. When you judge, you're already confirming that you've already judged yourself and others. Let everybody off the hook. In its time, I'm not suggesting that you try to force forgiveness when you can't really feel it, but just at least be open that when it's time, you're open to it. Make sense? Yes. Please take a few centering breaths. Set aside all the stuff of the world. And it's not just a request. Try to think more deeply. I'm choosing to set aside the stuff of the world. Why and how? Because I want it that badly for the stuff of the world to not control my life. So I'm choosing to put all of that aside. This is a holy child of God, choosing to not have false idols, meaning any other things going on, things infiltrating your mind, occupying your time. I'm choosing no past, no future. Just for 1 minute, no past, no future. The only danger now is in the present is a false version of the present, which is a shallow version, which is when we're still in control, choosing what to feel in the present. Complete surrender is the real way of being in the present. I'm not subtly controlling anything. Complete surrender. I do not know my own best interests. I might think I do. Total surrender, a prayer of the divine feminine. Here I am, God. Here I am, Holy Spirit. Hurts from the past. I know that we think we can learn from the past, and we can. But if we really get it, there's no past anymore to learn from now. So the past, the future, I give to you, God. I don't have to have any major technique. It's a choice. I am no longer choosing to try to control my past or my future, but I am willing to look at the past or future, should it arise. I ask you, Divine Mother, to be the one who chooses what arises in my field of vision in my mind. I choose to have no memories that are under my control. Certainly, maybe some memories, but only under God's guidance. My Divine Mother knows completely my needs of the day. Me telling her what I want and need isn't helpful. A complete surrender to you, God, and your will. With no past, no future, and no shallow present, I find my innocence. Not my vulnerable child innocence, my pure spirit spark, my pure image of God being, innocence. I have no past, no future, no karma, no reincarnation left, my innocence. In this place, I am so pure, I don't even need to attract lessons, karma, anything. There's nothing in me that has a magnet that would draw anything to me anymore. In this place, pure innocence. For the next half minute, just imagine what it feels like. When I say imagine, I don't mean musing, I mean imagine, like breathe it in. My pure innocence. What does it feel like to have no karma, no remaining lessons? And if I can hold this as a certainty, a knowingness, the whole world, universe would say, and so it is to me. It would bring me only reflections of my pureness, my goodness. I'm retiring, you world, from having to play out my lessons. I'm choosing to no longer have them, feel them, believe in them. I'm unplugging them. So honor me by showing me what God is trying to show me about myself. Purity, innocence. And we give thanks that this is creating a visceral shift within our being and our consciousness. And so it is. Please remember, concepts of ascension, but sometimes if you look at it, it still involves the future. I'm going to ascend. Really what that means is I don't want to be here now, because you're still talking about something in the future. You think it's bad to obsess on the past? It is. But you know what's funny about it is the more you obsess on the past or future, the more it confirms you're afraid of being here now. You're more afraid of your light and your purity and your innocence that you will find here, that you would rather spend time somewhere else. Even when you talk about your inevitable ascension. And I know it makes sense. If I'm thinking about ascension, I'm attracting it. If you really want to ascend, it's determined by how much you're present, not future. How much are you ascended now, not how much will you ascend in the future. How do I know how much I'm ascending now? By how much peace you bring to the moment. Through communion, love, and forgiveness. We're going to ask real quick, it will be done in just a few minutes. Can anyone share what you heard today or felt or experienced that seems most effective for your life? Yes.
I or we are no longer that. I or we are not yet that.
I'm no longer that. I'm not yet that.
And my question then became, well then who am I? And the answer came through, I like that.
Good. If I'm no longer that and I'm not yet that, then who am I? And each of you will have a different revelation in that moment. Some it might be pure light, some innocence, some I don't know, which is not a bad thing to say, because I don't know should be followed with, but I'm willing to find out. By God, not by other people. Well, next, whose hand was up? Yes?
Oh, it's the same thing.
Same thing? Beautiful. Anyone else? What you thought, heard? Yes, dear?
How much the past triggers you tells you how much you associate yourself with that. It's a different change.
How much the past triggers you tells you how much you're actually identifying with it. Now, somebody's going to go, no, I don't. Oh, look at that. So now I can see a 5-year-old is doing that. I am not 5. Yes, you are. You really are. No, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of humorous in a sick way. Yes.
God is convergent and concentric in all that's happening here in the now and now.
Yes. Yes, thank you. And I want to partly say that and partly another point, which is, please remember, drag somewhere else, it's an age regression. Bring it to you in the present with God, and it's a time convergence. Remember the difference. They almost look the same because it still has to do with some, for example, past, some memory, some upsetting memory. They both involve that. But one of them, you're being triggered and dragged back to it so that you can be implanted with more layers of hurt and shame and whatever. The other is it comes here to be peeled apart and it becomes powerless. Yes.
Notice, even through meditation, there's like a slight difference in terms of like intentionally imagining something and then
Difference between intentionally imagining something.
instead of that control, it's like, I don't know, God, you show me, and then images
Right.
just naturally pop up.
Yeah. And the difference between letting these things be used against you versus God joining you and using them to disperse power that things seem to have had that they don't have. Yes.
Well, you taught us a strategy so that you explain when we walk into a room and we have these thoughts of judging all these people based on genders and ethnicities,
Right.
hair, clothing.
All of our opinions that we see in other people.
So you taught us a strategy on how to sort of extinguish that and see them just as a reflection of ourselves.
See these things as a reflection of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Got that? So I want to change one thing, and I mean this playfully. He's saying, I taught that strategy of how to deal with it, right? Now, if I taught it, it's because I'm wonderful and brilliant. But then it means that when you leave the room and I'm not with you, then that brilliance is gone. So I want you to say it in a way that you say it like you're teaching us. Take out the Michael was, say it like it's just the truth and it's yours, and you're sharing it with us.
Yeah, so when I walk into a room, I choose not to judge people, based on all these things that I see or feel.
When we walk into a room,
We walk into a room, yeah.
we don't need to judge. Go ahead.
We don't need to judge and just see everyone like we're connected and they're a reflection of ourselves.
Yes. We can see everyone as though we're connected, not like that one's tall, that one's short. Right, exactly. And you see the subtle difference that I want all of you to share. This is where you're at. This is what you got. This is what you believe, right? It's very important. Even though it seems like a subtle thing, we all say, well, I saw this movie and it did this and this person said this and and the books that I read it. I get it. That's what we do. I'm just encouraging more and more and more that everyone really get and own, not your teacher, not any book. this is the truth. Well, I believe, you know, I see that we can do this at any time. We could do that at any time. It's really cool, but it's a little anxiety for some people with that because it means I'm teaching now. It doesn't mean you have to have a pointer tool teacher role, you know, and a certain look, but it means we all need to step into it more. This is, as I know it, this is the truth. That when we do this, here's what we're really doing. You know, just say it. And some people out there are going to be like, wow, some are going to be really grateful that you speak with such authority, but they also don't like it. Some people, Pharisees, were like, there's something about this Jesus guy. He speaks as though he knows, which was so foreign to them, they wanted to kill him for it. I'm not saying people are going to want to kill you for sharing what you just shared. But people wanted to kill Jesus. Now, but it's still the truth. What am I going to do? Lie and say, I don't think we stand a chance of ascension or whatever the topic is. Share it, but let it come from you. And I'm saying that to all of you that share every Sunday. Let it come from you. I really like that. It's really hard for people, and I'm closing, but it's really hard for people to understand how this center is run. I play a certain role, but everybody attending helps decide what we're talking about today, right? And yet I contribute to that. We have accounting people that take care of finances. I don't want to know all that stuff. For almost every year that I've ever been here, I've never known our account numbers. I've never known most of the time what bank we're at. I don't want to know that stuff because it's healthy for people to know that there are teachers that aren't in the money. You follow what I mean by that? Hint, hint. Yeah. So the board has the office has its decision making. The board has its, and I do not vote when the board makes a decision. No need, first of all, because everybody's usually on the same page. But I don't vote, and it's hard for the most stubborn, ego-based people to understand that because their brain, it doesn't compute. Well, Michael, if he's the spiritual leader, he must. No. I will say, what do you want done? And I will help implement it. I'll try to remind you guys when you forget things, but I don't make that decision. When the guys come into the back room and say, what song do you want? I don't say, I want. I say, what do you guys want? And if the majority does something, that's what we go with. One time that I can remember, and I'm not saying there isn't a second or third, but definitely only one time I can remember overriding the majority vote. And it's when the majority 10 years ago said we had a former name as a center when I arrived here 15 years ago. And they all wanted us to drop the other name and become autonomous as a center. And I said, no, not yet. That's the one time I can remember saying, I don't care if I'm outvoted, we're not changing the name yet. But that's not because I was being stubborn or controlling. It was because I knew things that they didn't know about that I didn't want to verbalize, the politics of other centers and churches, that I knew it would cause some harm. So it wasn't time yet. And we had to wait, and maybe 8 years or whatever number of years it was, 6 years or whatever, finally it was time, and it shifted. And we brought that up in the talk. There's timing of things. It's not always when on a whim and so on. And I knew why they wanted to change it and so on. But some of them wanted to change it because of a little fire going on inside them. Let's change and that's not the motivation I wanted. And you know what? The people that most wanted us to change the name were soon gone. The quick burning fuel that they wanted to use to burn the old name also burned themselves out, and they're gone. I'm glad I didn't listen to people who act on a whim. It became something solid. And now we collectively go, the Global Center for Christ Consciousness. When we sit down and I say, what workshops do you want me to do this year? I ask, they throw it out there, and they know me. I'm like, oh God, no, I don't want to do that one yet. Oh, they're like, Michael. So we go through these little, humorous games back and forth. Michael, we want that one. Oh, and I play like a stubborn child, not wanting to take a bath. And I do. I allow some of that to come out and whine and, But I know that when they say we want a class on this, I can already hear it downloading. And I'm like, So then I'll get back to them and say, okay, so March, we're going to do that. And they're going, yay! They were going to get their way all along. I just had to make it look like I can have an opinion, And it's true, but people don't see it all the time and understand it because it's not typical. It's not a typical program, so they don't see it. Yes, I play a role. But I always introduce myself as part of the spiritual leadership. We do it as thoroughly as possible, but still there'll be someone out there that thinks Michael does it, Michael runs, blah, 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 and it's because of their own ego stuff and their own program. You and I are changing the world. By you stepping up and teaching, repeating something and owning it, you're changing the world. Starting with your own world like here, and then your own family, you're starting to say, here's what's true. Not with the president, vice president, not with the opposition. Don't quote them. Quote yourself. Speak from the truth as you know it. Be humble in it, as far as I know, that type of thing. But that's very empowering. We're going to do our closing prayer, but first our collection. It'll only take a minute. We greatly appreciate your generosity, and the folks online, there'll be a link. You can click on that so that you can make a donation there. Take a centering breath. Our prosperity blessing together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and so it is. Thank you. If any of the board members know of any announcements I missed, remind me and I'll do that. It'll only take them a minute to pass these around. Thank you so much for being with us regularly. God bless you volunteers that showed up yesterday, a nice full crew, and we took down all the Christmas decor. We always leave it up for an extra week or so, because we can. Keep celebrating holidays, holy days, sacred days. So that felt really good, and now we're all starting a new year. And we appreciate all that you can do to help us through the year, but also bless your own life. Don't make this year like past years. Let yourself be free of as many patterns as possible from the past. Take these words to heart and let them change your life, please, because this is a reflection of what your soul is trying to tell you in the first place, okay? Any last comments or sharing from the service or meditation? Feel okay? Did the meditation feel visceral, practical? Yeah? Thank you. Yes, dear.
This was entirely and completely
Thorough.
100% completely thorough.
Nice. Thank you.
End to end.
Nice, isn't it?
Perfect.
Yeah. This is fantastic what we share. And it's not always easy to put it in words when somebody says to you, well, you're going to the Global Center. What is that? I don't know. I mean, if they ask me, I don't know. I could say, they'll say, is it a church? No. I've had people walk up to me. I've heard you're the, what do they call me? Pastor. And I'm like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Yeah, I'm the pastor. I hear you're the reverend. I'm irreverent. I'm not reverend. But I know that I'm a spiritual teacher, and I know that I am plugged in, and I feel great about plugging in with God and doing my best to share with the world to make changes. That I know. But how do you describe that in a building? I often say when people call or write and they say, wow, you were amazing this Sunday. I said, yes, we were. I say, it's funny, they turn it into a compliment to me, and I'm not denying compliment. I say, thank you, but I say, we really do have an amazing group of people. I swear to you, that's commonly what I say. Because it is. This is something we're co-creating. This is something that we're anointed by having. And it's not, you don't find this on every street corner. This is amazing what we have here. Even the highest echelon of well-known, named practices out there, religions or whatever you want to call it. The amount of politics and stuff that they've got to deal with, it's a bummer. But we try to keep this as clean as possible, as transparent as possible. And even then, somebody will find something to nag about. But we really, it's quite an amazing thing. But it's because we, not I, not even just a board, everyone here is co-creating. We want something different. We want something that's as real and deep, powerful, practical, transitional as possible. And this is what we've got. So thank you. Please stand for our closing prayer. For the folks online especially, in case you didn't know, we recite something, like in our closing prayer. What they're saying, they're repeating back is, I can say the light of God surrounds us. What they're saying, in case you can't tell, is we are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are. So they're, like I was saying about when you share stuff here, own it for yourself. So they're actually repeating it as an affirmative that they are the thing that we're praying to or for. Centering. Together, everyone. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. God bless. Thanks.